what I do, obviously porcelain clay, and I think everything about me has been said by Joe beautifully, thank you. If there's any questions, please go ahead and ask. I'll just explain briefly how I made this piece. First of all, you start with white porcelain clay, and then you have to colour it. To colour, you add stain, which is like a fine powder. You mix the stain into like a bowl shape of clay, wet it down so that it becomes dissolved, mix it all into the clay to its appropriate colour. You think you know what the colour's going to be, but you're never 100% sure. And I'm not a repetitive person. I don't accurately weigh everything. People go, 10% or 9.5%. I just bung some colour in and hope it's going to be the colour I want. So I do tests I'll fire them and see exactly what colour I get. Usually it's a surprise. Fairly close to the greens and the blues. And black is so strong. I used the black and then I didn't really like it in that piece. I didn't like it when you make a cane, which is combining all the different colours into a piece. It can be a triangle, it can be a circle, it can be a square, whatever you want to use. Slice it very thinly, and then the slices are what you see here. So each sort of head would be a slice, not like the whole head, half the head, it's probably a slice of clay. Then they're pieced together, and then the pieces on either side are joined also to try to create the sand and the sea. I think what my biggest love for porcelain is the textile, tactile quality. It's so smooth, and if you can polish it and get that lovely sheen. I don't like glazes. I love them on pots. I think they're terrific. But on this sort of work, I think glaze can be an overkill. So if you can polish and just sand it back, sand it back, sand it back, and I probably sanded it from 60 gauge to probably 3,500. So I sand a lot of different papers and go through it again and again and again until I get the finished one. And I'll do that when it's made. I won't go to that high grade when it's made. When it's in its raw state, I'll probably go down to 100 or 120. When it's this, I'll go down probably to 400. And when it's finished, I'll go down to 3,500. So it's a lot of sanding and polishing. But the end result is usually worth it. To make canes, as I said, you can add all sorts of different colours of clays. You can add different clays together as well. You can utilise those canes then in jewellery, in larger pots and larger pieces. You can make really big, huge big canes, like that size by that size, slice them and then use those. So you can make anything you like. If anyone's got any questions, please go ahead.
When you say canes, do you mean the rolls that when we saw the...
Yep, so
it's a bit like quilting. They make jelly rolls and things, and jelly rolls are like canes really, out of clay. Jelly rolls, it's one colour, another colour, another colour, another colour, roll it up into a roll and then slice it into a cross section.
The jam, I'm sorry, it's like taking a hot pot of sushi rolls.
Yes.
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 Put everything together to get your shapes,
Yes.
and then take a slice off.
Yes. Sushi rolls is a good one. You can make any shape sushi rolls, triangular or square or whatever. So yes, sushi rolls. And I like thin clay. I like it translucent. I've just done some slip onto balloons.
Wow.
And it's eggshells. I can see right through it. It's so thin that I moved it. It crumbles, it just falls apart. But I fired 3 and I've got them out of the kiln, and they're fine. So, and they're quite solid. They're quite firm.
That's what I was going to ask you about the firing. That must be quite nerve-wracking at times to actually know. Yeah, and hope that it's going to survive.
Yes, you do. You hope, and particularly with porcelain, it's got a mind of its own and it's got a memory of its own, so it always goes back to what it was in the beginning. And it cracks. It doesn't matter what you do. You think you've got this perfect, this form, and then you come in and you think, oh, it's got a crack. And once it's got a hairline crack, it just opens up. You can't repair it. It's so hard. So there is quite a high loss. So by the time I get to the end firing, it's usually, I know it's going to make it through to the end. So the glaze firing, about the final firing, is okay. Sometimes I'll go right through from 0 to 1200, and that works too. So you get a gut feeling that this is in one piece enough to survive the firing.
So a gut feeling would be because she's had so much experience working with this medium, which is really unforgiving and can be quite harsh. Because the idea of clay, it actually, once it's in a kiln when it's firing it, it's larger than when you put it in. So my question is it just your experience and your knowledge of the additions you're adding to the porcelain about how they fire at different rates? Because is that a concern with stains?
No. Stain and clays I use will all fire at the same rate.
Oh, okay, even with the stains?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Same stains. It's interesting, some stains feel quite different. They absorb an awful lot of moisture. And other stains you put in and 3 drops of moisture and it's runny.
Yeah.
So you just can't, well, you can tell once it's mixed into that clay, it doesn't change. It doesn't change in its fire.
Oh, okay, so it stays to it takes what the body of the clay's firing needs up.
Yes, but I think you do need to know what clay bodies are compatible, because you can use 5 or 6 different types of clay.
Yeah.
And I know which ones are compatible with my clay. I wouldn't know which ones are compatible with somebody else's clay. So you have to test to see, to make sure that it's going to work. Colour-wise, it doesn't really matter. The stain doesn't really make a difference. I found so far. So back to eggshell fin. It's risky. I don't know I'm going to lose a lot, but it's a challenge, isn't it? I'm going to beat this.
It's a mastery process that is Nerikomi.
This is Nerikomi.
Nerikomi,
Yeah.
Nerikomi. I have a group called Nerikomi, and I always did mix them up.
Nerikomi is when you piece coloured pieces together to form a pattern. And Nerikomi is when it's like agate. So if you think agate, it's more it's blended. So you can mix it up together and put a different result. Sorry.
What do you do with your wastage, the ones that don't work and crack?
If they're usually at the drying stage, I can tell it's not going to make, so I can recycle the clay. I'm not very good at that, and tend to make small things, so I usually just chuck them out. Not very good.
Or you don't
Rehydrate it, recycle it.
well, yeah, slip buckets, the old
Yes,
put it in a
okay.
bucket of water. But if there's stuff that's gone through the bisque stage, which is a little bit more problematic,
That's gone.
can you repurpose it as a
No.
jewellery piece or anything? You can't.
No,
You
that's
can't cut or.
No, but that doesn't happen that often. I usually can tell before it gets. I'm getting better at telling. But recycling, when it's raw clay,
Yeah.
and you can see that it's cracked, and you think this isn't going to make it. I tend to leave it for a long time, hoping that it will just re-heal, and it doesn't. And essentially, I think, right, smash. And sometimes it's just so distressing, I just throw it straight into the bin. Other times I'll smash it up and put it into the slip bucket. But I've got to be careful, because if I've got any colour,
Yeah, they've already
near
been stained.
there, it picks it up. And you think, I'm a terror, because if I work in one spot and I'll get leftovers, cut slices off, and I think, oh, this is white, this is white, this is white. And I'll mix it up and make something, and it's blue, it's got a bit of green in it. Because the colour is so minute in it, I can't see it until it's fired. So I do have to be careful throwing them off. Yeah. Or recycling all that into a coloured slip, which you can do too. So then I can really make a can or a roll of coloured clay. But that's also risky, because you don't tend to get a true colour. So you mix up all the colours and think, oh, this is blue, and it'll come out black.
Yeah.
So it's hard to tell.
But porcelain is so beautiful to work. I have about 6 of Jan's little bowls, which are fine, fine. and they are so beautiful. The shape. And my sister has one in England on a windowsill, and the light is coming through. It's just translucent and beautiful. It's lovely. And they look so delicate, and yet they're quite strong in a way. You know, porcelain is amazing to work with. Master of porcelain here.
And when you think of porcelain that's used for teeth, Nasson uses it on planes. I mean, it's an amazing substance. It is the strongest substance that you can make.
So with your balloons that you're doing, your balloon bowls,
My balloons, yes.
so are you doing a layer of slip and then a coloured layer of slip, so a couple of slips so that when you look through you get depths of colour?
No,
just
that's a good idea.
So we've just collaborated.
It won't actually work because, sorry,
Always learning.
what I'm doing is dipping the balloon into a slip,
Yep.
just a bit,
Yep.
and then stand it on a bowl shape so that it will dry,
Yep.
and then I have to try and remove the balloon without cracking the slip, and it's so fine. So if you can remove the balloon very, very slowly and carefully, then you've got a hollow form. I don't know what you use it for, and it's only, you know,
So many things.
But if you think of a water balloon, you know, those
Yeah.
tiny ones, well, I tried a big one, but that was too big. It didn't look right anyway. So I used a water balloon, and that does
That's
work.
good, yeah.
But it was really it just looks like an egg.
Yeah.
You know, white
Yeah,
egg
yes.
Have you ever done thick enough to then carve back through your coloured slips to get a different effect as well?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
And do you do slip trailing on them? And
I would do, when you've made all the canes and you put it onto a table, probably start with white and then add coloured canes to that. Blend it all in so that you've got one sheet of colour, if you like. I've got your painting, I wish. But you say, you know, you've got a nice piece of clay there. Then what do you do with it? You have to then shape it into a form, or, you know, make it a cylinder, or you know what you're going to do with it before you start. So cut it up and join it, and that's where the trick comes, joining any joins with water and porcelain.
yeah, it's very unforgiving.
Porcelain does not like added water, just doesn't like it. The one that's
Wow. All right. Just keeping an eye on the time. Questions?
When you've got a small crack, it's not with filling it at all, is it? You know, like the Japanese sometimes fill with gold.
you can do a kintsugi, which is, yes, filling it with glue, and then microcard on the top, which is with gold.
But not gold to glaze, because it's going to crack
It's
again.
not, you can't glaze it, it's just doesn't work. And so, yeah, you could kintsugi it, but sort of, you know, it's a challenge, isn't it? You just got to make it up.
Yeah.
The next one's not going to crack. If it does, you change and go to something else.
So have you done it, made your slab and then rolled it together and then actually thrown it?
Yes.
Yeah, so you've done a throw-on like that. And how's that work? That works reasonably well, the same way as a body of clay on a
That
wheel?
was the bowls. I had a set of 3 bowls in
Yes.
with
Right.
right, and they were blue and green and white porcelain. Then I water etched to get the 3D effect, and then I put it down on a little. So there's certain things you can do with it.
Yeah.
But as a, it's not as big a challenge as trying to get
Yeah,
an exact pattern.
exactly, yeah. So that would have been your black heads, your dingo heads, and then you would have laid your water and sand, and that's all joined together, and then you formed for this piece.
It's sort of triangle, the black triangle on
Yeah.
the head, and there's probably 1, 2, 3 triangles
Yeah.
joined together for a head.
Yeah.
And then the other pieces are added onto the ends of those triangles. Then they're joined to the next.
Yeah, so there's like maybe 30 joins in that one vessel. Yeah, so that honestly is extraordinary, that you can get 30 joins on a vessel, a body, and not have a crack. Is just like that she's a master of playing with
I
clay.
don't think there's a crack. No, there isn't on that one.
2 more minutes and then we'll have to move on.
Okay, is there
Any
anyone
other
else got
questions?
anything?
What sort of clay are you using actually?
I'm using a Keen Smithfire alumina clay. It's 5 to 1200. I changed from 1280 firing because I had a very old kiln and didn't like going to 1280 degrees. So I thought, I'm struggling. So then I changed my glazes to suit 1200 degrees, changed my clay. Then I bought a new kiln that would easily have gone to 1200. But I stuck with 1200.
Is that a natural clay or is it
It's
produced?
It's produced.
Combined here?
So you're not been down to the river and dug your clay bodies out?
Not porcelain, no.
No, not porcelain.
I know in China the clay was special over there because of the
Yes.
it comes off Dingoes.
Yeah. Well, we don't have a natural porcelain. The feldspar's not good. It's interesting. I think China does have wonderful clays, absolutely beautiful. But so do we here. Cool ice, Nes Blake produced cool ice and southern ice, and they are renowned around the world as being probably one of the best clays. Limoges I used in Italy, and that of course is a river Tripoli. It's a nice clay to work with, but I think our clays here are just as good, if not better. We get just as good results. So unfortunately we don't have to go so far. It doesn't cost so much. Okay, well thank you very much for your time.